up, Jenna? Always good to see you.
Happy Monday, kicking off the week.
Yes, you know I love a Monday's favorite day.
I know we always head into the week like ready to go. And so it's always fun to start talking about a new challenge and a new program on a Monday, like when you're fresh coming off a weekend. So
Right.
excited to talk about lots of fun stuff tonight. But let's see who we've got. We've got Leah here, Katie's here, we've got our friends joining us. So thank you so much if you are joining us. Don't forget to share this. Tell all your friends to join. We are live. We're going to break things down here in a few minutes, but as we allow our friends to join and everybody to come into this chat tonight, T, we got to know you just came back. The wheels touched down literally not too long ago. Break it down for us. This trip you had, epic. T was traveling. If you weren't following her, you missed out on
Yeah.
some. I don't know. It was FOMO a little bit. So, T, tell us what was your favorite part about your trip. Break it down. Tell us
Oh
all about
man,
your travels.
I whenever I take a little bit of a summer break or reset, community is like the biggest thing for me, my family, my friends, like, so I'm really using that time to make those connections. And so I started in Lisbon, stay with some friends, and every time I go there, it just feels like, oh, like you ever find a place that feels like home that immediately, like you don't know any, even if you know only one person there, it just feels like this place feels like home. Lisbon is that for me. So I always start as a reset. And then I had the opportunity to go to the Cannes Line Festival. If you guys do not know, Tonal was shortlisted for the epic, phenomenal commercial that we filmed. And so went to Cannes Line Festival is like an unbelievable experience. If you haven't been, it is kind of like branding, marketing, networking, the who's who of everything. And it was so great to be outside of my comfort zone, and be in a space and be able to like really talk about Tonal to people who are like, I think, yeah, I know Tonal, or people whose faces light up when you say the brand's name. And so that was such like a cool experience. And I was there for a week. And then, I had to pop over to Paris since I was so close and see my girl Beyonce. And Beyonce brought just, this guy just popped on stage, something by the name of, like, I don't know, is it Jay-Z? Popped up. He never performs anymore. So it was
Oh no, never
honestly,
heard of them.
yeah, and I mean just like little known artists, from Brooklyn.
Up and
But
coming, up and coming.
yeah, an up and coming artist. You don't see him around too often. But yeah, it just was I felt like the theme was for me in this new season is definitely patience and to have a lot of faith. And so I'm moving into this July challenge, being patient with my body, being patient with the process. And so yeah, I'm pretty freaking excited about this, Jenna. I don't know.
Well,
What have you been doing?
if I've learned one thing is that my theme for this summer is to let you make all of my travel plans for me.
Count me in.
So I'm going to be the official travel spokesperson for Tonal. I need the itinerary. I need all of it. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the summer's just getting started. So much planned. I
What
was
you
just
got
saying,
going on?
traveling with my little one. At this point, my vacation plans are wherever I can go, where my parents come with me, so that I have some built-in babysitters. So that will be that will be my summer travel. Will be wherever I can go with my parents as well. My husband does have a big birthday coming up, so we definitely are going to
How
be.
big?
It's the big 4-0 for him. I
Ooh.
know. We're a little older, T.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like our men, just a little younger.
I love that though. You know what? Keeps us young. Keeps
It
us
keeps
young.
me young. It keeps me young. That's right.
That's gonna be fun though.
Amazing. Well, uh, so fun. Both of our summers sound like they're off to a fun
Yeah.
start. So
Just get started.
we want to hear wherever your plans are this year. So if you guys have travel plans coming up, let us know in the chat. I want to hear where you're going. Maybe I'll get some more travel inspo for this summer where you're heading.
Yeah.
So, but we're not here to talk about traveling. We're not here to talk about birthdays. We are here to talk about next level strength. Uh,
Woohoo.
Coach T's a brand new program that is going to be dropping on July 4th. So we're going to be celebrating so many fun things this week. And you have a challenge kicking off next week, and a program that's going to be on the trainer this Friday. So let's
Yes.
kick things off. Let's break it down. It's been a minute since you've had a challenge and a program that's all your own. And you know what's really fun? I say this all the time, working with you all and creating programming that we can bring to the members is, you know, whenever we create programs together, there's always a piece of the coach, a lot of the coach and their influence in these programs, right? It's what they're how they're training right now, what they're into. And so there's always, you know, a goal for the program, but you know, the coaches always have so much of their own personality and so much of their own training styles influence in these programs. And I feel like this couldn't be more true than for this program. I feel
Yeah,
like
I
this
agree.
program really like was you at this moment in time, like when we met and we started working on this. I feel like how this where this one landed and what we're bringing to members is really like you in a
Yeah,
nutshell.
I,
So
I, I could not agree more. I think that's why I'm so excited. Jenna and I always work so beautifully together on the programs, and it's probably because like same, a little bit different. We also like to train in very much similar ways. And so yeah, I really am excited for this program to launch and I'm committed to doing the program with everyone. And so I've already done it once. So I'm giving it a second go around. And that's how much I believe in the program and what the results are going to look like, and just the enjoyment. So, yeah, let's get into
get
it.
into it. All right. So this is a intermediate build muscle program for those of you who are interested in that. And we're going to break down what all of that means here in a second. It's a 4x4, meaning it's 4 times a week for 4 weeks. For the split, it's going to be upper, lower, upper, lower. And we'll get into much more detail as we go on tonight. I'm just giving you these high level details for now. It is our live, or for those of you that know what we call our smart linear format. So that does mean that T is going to be there every step of the way, coaching you through every workout. So she, like she said, she's done it once. We've actually done it a couple of times between testing and filming and all of
Yeah.
that. So she is going to be there with you every step of the way in every workout, every drop of sweat, every pound lifted. She's right there with you. There is a barbell focus on your main compound lift of every single workout. So there's going to be a lot. If you kind of noticed in her teaser video, her sizzle reel, whatever term you want to use for it, you noticed T with that barbell and lots of barbell lifts. So this is really great program if you are kind of like newer to barbell lifting and you're like, you know what, I really want to hone in on some of those bigger barbell compound lifts and maybe improve my form a little bit, get a little bit stronger. So there's going to be a lot of emphasis on the barbell. We're going to be using wave loading on that main compound lift every day. And we'll talk about what wave loading is and why there are so many great benefits to using that type of a protocol. And it's really, again, about it's for those that are really in that intermediate space, but are ready to take things to the next level. So big focus on strength and getting stronger. And of course, there is some muscle building components in terms of hypertrophy. And then we have a little sprinkle, just a touch of core and conditioning throughout the week.
Razzle
So
dazzle, you know?
that's right.
Throw that on there.
A little sprinkle, a little spice. So, you know, if you're somebody who you're like, hey, I don't want to lose out on my conditioning, I want to maintain my conditioning. We have that in there once a week, just to keep you where you're at. So a little bit of maintenance when it comes to cardiovascular work and work capacity, and then also core, because we know how important it is to strengthen our core. And you guys have heard us say it a million times. We are working your core in almost everything you do. When you're squatting, you are working your core, but we'll have some dedicated isolated core movements on 1 day a week as well. So you'll make sure that your core stays strong. You're really going to improve the strength in your main lifts, and you're also going to work a lot of accessory stuff. So that's the nitty gritty details, but we're going to talk about them in even more detail as we go on today. So T, your last solo program, Fit Over 40, one of your last programs.
Yeah.
And now you have this challenge. So that was kind of like the last challenge that you did solo. And I know you're really looking to challenge everyone with this program. So there's the barbell focus and the strength training. It's about progression. It's about heavy lifting. So tell me, what do you love really the most about the barbell in particular and incorporating heavy strength training into this program and into your own training?
Yeah, I talk about this in during the classes as a reminder and kind of reiterate it. But with the barbell, the weight, you have an opportunity to lift a lot heavier weight than you would with just the handles, distributing the weight from the right to the left. And so the barbell is fixed. So the weight just gets distributed across the barbell. And it really does allow you to overload the muscles a lot more than you would be able to just kind of having like, oh, well, my right side is not as strong as my left side. It's like now you can kind of push that needle a little bit further. And so it was really important to me for this programming, as Jenna had mentioned before, like training how I train. And I'm I'm 5'2.5", but in my mind, I'm the same size as Joe. Like in my mind, me and Joe are the same height. I'm the same height as Christine. Like, do you know what I mean? So like I feel bigger in my mind and body. And so I really do like to push my body as much as I can. And so I wanted to push the limits a little bit. And we were really able to do that with, like Jenna said, focusing core work just on one day so that you can really maximize all your effort in the strength training and muscle building components of the workout. And the barbell just hits that straight on the head. You get those 6 sets in the wave loading. So we really kind of like ask the nervous system to kind of push the central nervous system, the body. It's like, hey, you guys need to show up, work it, coordinate, because we got to do this and then do it again and again and again and again. So using the barbell really allows you to like kind of progressively overload those muscles and push them in ways that you wouldn't be able to. And so the other thing with the barbell and this program, we really worked on getting those main lifts as your primary lifts, those big 5 lifts as the primary pulls, pushes throughout the week. And yeah, I can't, sometimes less is best, right? And like more, I say it a lot, more is not always more. Sometimes more is too much and sometimes more is distracting. And so we've kind of drilled it down to the core movements and just like let's get to work. Let's get to work.
Exactly. And so going off of that, I know Rachel had the question of how long, and these workouts, just you were so close with your guest there, but 35 to 45 minutes is the average. So most workouts fall into that 35, 45 minutes. And the ones that are on the longer end are the ones that we have that little bit of conditioning block in there and a little
Right.
bit of work on those days. But that's really like once a week. Most of the workouts are in that 35, 40 minute range. So really efficient, time effective. And that being said, our main compound lift uses that wave loading concept that I talked about at the top of our talk here. So wave loading, if you are newer to heavier lifting, if you're like, oh, like I get a little nervous going 6, 5, 4 reps, this is the program for you. And we can talk all about the benefits of lifting heavy. But this program is going to start off with your compound lift. You have a prime block, first of all. So we're going to start off with kind of like this on-tonal warm-up block that's going to prep your movement patterns. It's going to warm up your load progressively. Then you're going to hit your main compound lift. When I say you're going to hit your main compound lift, you are going to hit it with 6 sets of work. Now, do not be scared. Do not be scared by 6 sets of work. We're doing wave loading. And so wave loading can be done in a couple of different ways. You can do waves of 2 where you go maybe like 8, 4, 8, 4, 8, 4 with your reps. We're doing waves of 3. So on week 1, those 6 sets that I talked about are going to go 10, 8, 6, 10, 8, 6. You're working up to that heavy top set of 6 reps in week 1. Now, why wave loading is it's a great protocol, especially for people who are intermediate and maybe slowly working their way up to these heavier rep ranges, is that first 3 sets, we're going to reduce the weight. And you have that lower intensity, slightly lower intensity for those first 3 sets. And then your second wave, where you do 10, 8, 6 again, is going to be at your full weight. So think of that first wave as almost a warm up wave where you're able to really focus on your movement pattern, your efficiency, as you were talking about dialing in your central nervous system, talking about motor recruitment, and all of the things that really improve your ability to lift heavy. And then you take all of that skill set into that second wave. You get these different, stimuli to your central nervous system where you have these different intensities. And so it's really a phenomenal protocol to not only improve your strength, but also to build that strength and confidence simultaneously. So as you are working through these 6 sets, you are going to get more confident with lifting heavy. And then every week, those reps are going to get a little lower and a little lower and a little lower, so that we're really progressively and systematically building you up to some heavy lifts by the end of this program. And so you're going to feel really confident in those lifts before you hit those really heavy top sets by the end of the program. So again, you'll be seeing wave loading on all the big lifts for the entire program. So you'll be working really focused on strength and building strength in this program. And again, so many incredible benefits that we can talk about as to why we want to lift heavy weights and focus on strength. It doesn't have to be all the time. You don't always have to be lifting in those lower rep ranges, but it's really important that sometimes we take a break from other types of training and really step into working on our strength before we head back into maybe more of an accumulation. So again, we can both speak to all of the benefits of that, but we really wanted to expose users to this type of training, especially if they've never done it before and they weren't maybe comfortable with heavier weights and lower rep ranges. So T, tell us why you're really passionate about lifting heavy and really introducing this type of true strength training to your audience.
I'm just like catching up on all the comments and everything in there. Leah is literally probably it looks like she's doing cartwheels wherever she's at right now. And like she's so excited. But honestly, like hitting on Leah kind of popped if you're in the chat too. Leah already kind of mentioned it. And Jenna and I we talk about this. We talked about it in Fit Over 40. Jenna and I are both over 40. So we kind of talk about this all the time, but really that importance of increasing your bone density, right? So it's really nice. It's cute to do the lighter weights, go a little bit longer. No, but when you lift heavy, you are asking the muscles to get a little bit stronger, which then put weight on your bones, put weight on your joints. It is imperative for all of us, like whether you are 15 and an athlete or you are 75 and you just want to protect your bones from falls. Like at any point, you really do want your bones to be strong and secure and be able to withstand load and falls and all of the pressure that just life comes with, physically demanding. And also for me at this stage, I'm 42 years old. I know I'm giving 25, guys, but she's 42. And so for now, I'm like, okay, body recomp it's important to lift those heavier weights. And the only way that I'm truly going to change my body is now shifting that load from, cute light weights that are manageable. It's a lot easier to progressively overload with those heavier weights, doing that 6 to 12 reps. So we're gonna push you in this space. But at the end of the day, the benefits, the central nervous system being worked. Guys, there was a one point, I'm not gonna lie, Jenna, I don't think we talked about this. It was probably week 3 or 4, and I was in a deadlift. My hands, I was like, oh, the grip strength we are working on grip strength as well, which obviously we already know has like a complete direct correlation to longevity. So it is a win-win in every sense of the word. Yeah, I'm over the moon about this programming and the benefits. I think everyone is going to I think you're gonna love it. I think you're gonna love it. Harry had a question in there just about like imbalance between the right and the left. We did a really good job of, while we have the barbell as the main compound lift throughout the weeks and throughout the days, like upper, lower, push and pull. You also have some accessory work, and you will go unilaterally handles. We swap out. It's not barbell for every single block, every single move. So the barbell is the main lift, but you will have an opportunity in that prime block to kind of go handles on, working one side, then working the other, one leg, then the other, and then get into pulling that all together to lift that heavier load. So don't be afraid. We are not just going to work bilaterally throughout the whole program.
This program has so much balance to it from so many different perspectives. But yeah, I think it's really important. We talk about the importance of strength training and resistance training, especially heavy loads, as you were saying, as women who are both over 40, but for everybody, when we're talking about longevity and we're talking about preserving our bodies, we're talking about preserving and enhancing our health. The older we get, lifting heavy is one of the best ways to get us there. And so it just countermeasures so much of the impacts of aging. And again, we're all aging. I don't care if you're 22 months old like my son or you're 42 years old, right? We're all aging. And so we want to preserve as much of our functionality and strength and metabolism and bone density as we can. And heavy resistance training has been just one of those, again, researched over and over and over, and it consistently shows up in the research as the best method for doing that. And I know Susan was talking about she's really been, coming back from injury and preserving her joints. That is another thing that this program was very strategic on. There is minimal to no high impact moves. Now, again, we know that plyometrics also do give benefits, for a variety of things. So you're not going to never see them, but we have kept them incredibly minimal. There's one move a week. And so you'll be able to work on the elasticity, and you'll be able to work on that rebound, and you'll be able to work on, the things that we get out of plyometric training or high impact training just once a week. And so you're able to really say, okay, I'm going to be intentional and focused because this is my one chance a week to really stimulate my power and my explosiveness. I'm going to focus on my landing and really improve my resiliency in my joints. And I'm going to do it very strategically. And maybe that means taking a modification or an option which T provides. That's great too. But being able to focus on explosiveness just for that brief moment for a few sets once a week is going to give you the benefits of explosive training and plyometrics while keeping it to a very brief minimum and really getting the benefits of bone density and all of that from our heavy lifting. So again, you're gonna see it all in this program, but we're really mindful about that in the programming as well. I also have to go back to Mark's comment because I loved it. He says, "I'm still 39." Been that
I
way
know.
for 8 years. I couldn't let that one go by without acknowledging it. And I was like, yep.
Same, Mark. Same.
I love it. So incredible team. I hope that people understand like the purpose of this programming. I say like all the time, every single workout program, everything we do here at Tonal is so intentional, and there's such a method behind the madness for absolutely every decision we make. So again, as we're going tonight, if you have questions on anything, please let us know in the chat. We're keeping our eye on it, and we'll have Q&A at the end as well. And so if you have any questions about why, let us know because we will answer it, because I tell you, we have a reason why we did everything. So T, we talked about, and we'll talk about a little bit more each of the days individually, but talk to me about, you were saying like kind of how your grip strength was getting challenged in those later weeks. So talk to me about how the weeks progress in this program. I hinted at it a little bit, but break it down for us. How do we progress throughout those 4 weeks?
So that first week, we're really keeping it as really like an intro week, an intro to the program, an intro to the training protocol of wave loading, where we get to break it down, explain it, what wave loading is, the benefits of wave loading, and where you can really just start to, if you've never done the training protocol before, you get to see what it feels like on your body. So then as the weeks go from 2, 3, and 4, we kind of keep week 1 and 2 pretty much the same. And then again, weeks 3 and 4 mirror each other a lot more. There are slight variations in the exercises, but the movement patterns will really stay the same. So while we introduce you to the program and the protocol of wave loading in week 1, once we start to get into week 2, we start to decrease the reps on the main lift. So like Jenna said, we start off with that 10, 8, 6, and then we progressively every single week if you started at 10, you go down to 9, down to 8, final week down to 7. So that will continue to drop down. And so that load is being pushed, central nervous system is being activated immediately. And so, yeah. And then on the last week, again, same thing, week 3, we decrease the weights. Again, we add in new variations. We kind of mimic those again in week 4. And the volume just really kicks up in that final week. And I think the cool thing about progressively overloading the muscles in this program and most programs, sometimes we want to just like jump to the next thing, right? There's like, you got to take the steps, you got to take the levels. And when you sit inside of each week without them varying so greatly from one week to the next, you get to take inventory on your own body. And I really talked about this throughout the coaching and in the program, but tonal is giving you cues all the time. It's telling you to take a step back. It's telling you it's increasing your weight. But because we are not changing the workout so dramatically, you get to take your own inventory on how that wave loading felt to you week 1 and then compare it to week 2. We alter the exercises slightly week 3, and you're like, whoa, the variations, even though the movement pattern might be the same, with the decreased reps from week to week to week, it really starts to change how you feel. And I promise you, I'm telling you, I already did it once. And the craziest thing I did was put all my weight and energy into this while we were filming. I'm going to do it again with you as we go through it. But the biggest things are, you will see that decrease in your reps from weeks 1 through 4. And the volume kicks up. Like Jenna already mentioned, that added time, the classes that are a little bit longer, it's because we've added in an extra set on the last block, which once you get to like conditioning and you're like, or the core block, you're like, okay, it's fine. It's just, I'm telling you, it is prepare yourself. Like we will pace it out. We do not rush through any of the exercises, any of the days. But it really is an opportunity for you to like tap into those simple primary movement patterns and functions so that you can continue to lift a lot heavier and like work on your form. So again, I'm trying to contain my excitement here, but I'm like, it's
I do too.
phenomenal.
I love that, we kept that primary, that compound lift the same for the 4 weeks so that you really can, I love how you said, like, you can live inside of it and stay in that week and you can really sit there and focus on those movements and see your improvement. Again, when we change things too frequently, your body can't adapt that fast. And so, yes, it might be fun and it keeps you, like intrigued because you're like, oh, something new and shiny. But again, for your body to really see those improvements and to really see the benefits of progressive overload, you do need to sit in it. And so I love that, those compound lifts really are the anchor for every workout for the 4 weeks. And then that accessory work that we've built in to keep that balanced program, that's where we can bring in a little bit of variety, work some different muscle groups, and a little bit of a different variety in the movement patterns so that we can keep the body really on point from top to bottom. There's nothing that's not hit in this program. So I love it. All right, so let's talk about each of the days. I talked about it before a little bit, but each day is going to kick off with a prime block. And I love, personally, this is how all of my workouts start. I love starting a workout with the prime block. You'll do your warm-ups with T off tonal, and then you'll get on tonal and you have a block that's a warm-up set and one working set where we're working a movement pattern that is similar to the main compound lift. So, again, a single arm bench press, and then you're preparing for your barbell bench press, for example. And so you're really able to mobilize the joints under load, which really activates your central nervous system again to let it know, like, hey, something big is coming. And so your body is ready for it when you hit that main lift. I just think it's a great way to really prepare your body and really warm it up under load so you can get the most out of your compound lift. Otherwise, you're sitting there for that first set or two of your compound lift, just fighting your inefficiencies, right? You're fighting out your stickiness and what's sore and how you slept the night before is like all manifesting itself. But when you add that prime block in, you really get to work through all of that. And I like to say, like, get unstuck you get to get unstuck in that first prime block so that you're really like ready to go and firing on all cylinders by the time you get to that second block, which is our main compound lift, where you'll see the wave loading. And then, as we said, we'll follow it up with an accessory block. You're going to have reps in the 8 to 12 rep range there. You're focused on hypertrophy, and a little bit more of like functional strength in those blocks. And then depending on the day, that might be it. You had your prime block, your compound lift, and accessory. But on the days where we added in that little sprinkle of core, you'll have a fourth block where you'll have your dedicated isolated core work. And then on our conditioning day, your fourth block will be that kind of metabolic block where you'll focus on conditioning, and some of those bigger combination multi-muscle group movements, and maybe just a smidge of off-tonal plyometrics. So the breakdown of the week, you're going to start off with upper body pushing plus your core work. That'll be day 1. So you're going to start off strong out of the gate. So upper body pushing day 1, lower body pulling on day 2. So we're going to give our muscles a rest from the upper body, work the lower body, and we're going to work from our pulling or our posterior chain. You'll have a rest day if that works for you. You can always move that rest day around to where it makes sense. Then you go into your upper body pulling day. We like to avoid having 2 pulling days back to back. That's why we put that rest day in there. That's mainly for that grip, as T was talking about. And day 3 is also where you're going to see that little bit of conditioning. And then you're going to finish things off with your lower body pushing. So upper pushing, lower pulling, rest day, upper pulling, lower pushing. And again, we advise that rest day mainly because of all the pulling and the strain on your grip and letting those muscles recover, but always make it work for you. If you need a rest day somewhere else because of your schedule, it is balanced upper lower. So you can kind of move that rest day around to where it makes the most sense for you and your goals right now. That's really important, is to always remember we programmed it with a certain goal in mind, but if your goal is slightly different, feel free to change things to suit your schedule and your goals and make it tailored to you. And you have that autonomy to do that with all of our programs.
And if you're not sure, and this goes for next level strength, but honestly, any program, if you're not sure what you should do if you're in the middle of a program, just ping us, either ping the entire group. Everyone is really good about this, but if you're wondering, can I move this here instead of this, just give us a quick little shout. And if we can guide you in a way that makes sense, even if it's just a shift for the week, we'll definitely do that.
T, any other main points about the programming before we move on to start talking about the challenge itself?
I will just say I love the enthusiasm. This is kind of like away from Jenna's question, but kind of still on the same path. I love everyone's enthusiasm in the chat right now. As Jenna's chatting and we're kind of like reading through and even up leading into this and listening to some people's comments about struggling with staying consistent with some of their workouts or, finishing programs through and through. I will say, like, joining the challenge group and being a part of the program, accountability is like such a thing that's like kind of gifted to all of us. So really lean into that. The program can get challenging. It's 4 days a week, and it might feel like once you are, maybe 2 days behind or whatever the case, like, oh, we're going to be here. I am going to be here. Our community is so good about kind of like staying involved even after the challenge is done or the days are done. So I'm really just encouraging you that we built this program out so that you can lift heavier weights with less reps. And so your time under tension is going to be maximized. So I'm just going to encourage you to see it through all the way. Because the program is honestly phenomenal. That's the only thing I got to say about that, Jenna.
That's right. And it is, staying consistent, no matter what that means for you, is always the goal of our programs that we put out on Tonal, no matter what. So if being consistent for you means doing 3 days a week and spreading it out a little bit, and it takes you 5 weeks to finish this program, then that is okay too. The goal is to be consistent. If 4 days a week feels overwhelming and you get through week 1 and then week 2, you're like, oh man, I know I can't work out. I'm going to miss a day this week, so might as well do no workouts. Like, no, that's never the answer. The answer is always to make it work for you. So whatever is going to help you be consistent, if that's 2 or 3 days a week with some extra rest days in there, and then you still get the program done, but you do it in a little longer, that's also great. That's helping you move towards your own goals. And that's amazing. So we love that. And yes, I'm loving all the enthusiasm tonight. So I think you're gearing yourself up for a really fun challenge month. So let's talk about that. If you are new to tonal challenges, our monthly challenges, there is going to be a very specific challenge group that you get to join with Coach T and everybody else who's doing this program at the same time for extra accountability. So you will be in your own little safe space with other people who are going through the same program as you, and maybe some people who aren't, because we know we have our group of lurkers who love to just be in a challenge group for the knowledge. And that is okay. If you're not doing this program right now, but you still want to join the group because you want to get the wisdom and the little, I like to say, golden nuggets from our coaches on programming and form and technique and all sorts of things that happen in there, you're welcome to join the challenge group and just kind of hang out and see what happens in there and get your questions answered. So that's okay.
Lurkers Anonymous.
Yeah. we love the more the merrier, right? But the whole point of that separate group for the challenge is that so people can ask questions specific to this program for T to be in there and give you kind of that one-on-one little bit of hand holding, just like your personal trainer. You'd say, oh, what about this day? And what about this move? And how about this? And I felt like this after. And what do you think about this? T is there to help you for that full month, to give you guidance and to really make sure that you're set up for success and achieve what you want to achieve by the end of this program. In addition to that great guidance and all of that knowledge that she's going to drop in there for you, you get your challenge calendar. So T, talk to us about the challenge calendar for this program. Kind of what was the thought process on the extra supplemental workouts, if you will,
Yeah.
and how do they complement this program?
So whenever we have a challenge, obviously Jenna really touched on why we put that rest day in between those two pulling days and the importance. And I'm trying to give y'all the heads up. The grip gets crazy. Okay. So at one point I actually looked up at Tonal and I said, okay, Tonal, we doing this. Okay, let's do it.
We're beefing. We're
beefing. So I can't stress enough how important rest is. If you've done anything where you've taken even a 60-second break versus 15 seconds, 30 seconds, you're just like, oh, okay, finally my body is ready. So I am going to encourage you. We put all of the mobility and recovery workouts in there to complement the movement patterns that we are doing on the specific days, and trying to time them as best as possible in between there. Julia is probably, shout out to Julia, because she gets busy with her reviews. Okay. So if you are wondering about any recovery mobility classes, Julia probably has posted a review in the OTC about it, and she can give you the whole lowdown and skinny on it if you want to test it out. If there's anything on the calendar that maybe you've got, I know you guys have some of your go-to favorite recovery workouts, favorite classes. I'm stressing recovery at least in between those two pulling days. And when we say recovery, that doesn't mean that you have to completely come off of your tonal. You cannot move your body at all. If you want to keep up your streak, or you want to still stay on tonal, definitely add in recovery. I think that adding in the recovery is you're going to make your lifts stronger, because again, once you come back to it, the movement pattern, you want to have that pliability in the muscles. If you just keep pounding them, pushing them, that volume is going to start to kick up. And if you are not allowing the body to rest, this is my guard dog. He only barks at the door. He doesn't actually do anything about it. But if you're not allowing the muscles to recover, you're not going to be able to finish out the workout in the way that you want to for the rest of the week. So as tempting as it might be to do another hardcore workout, I promise you, give your body a moment to recover.
Yeah. I love that. And it is so important. We always say like, work hard, recover harder. And again, that concept of like being unstuck. If you only hammer your body with heavy strength training, when you show up to your next lift, you're going to be spending a lot longer than that first prime block trying to get unstuck. So these mobility and recovery units that are put in there optionally on your rest days are really there to help you move better so that you get more out of your lifts and you're not fighting your own body for a good portion of your workouts. And so you'll just see your goals and you'll see your adaptations just come even quicker when you're able to build that in. So yeah, I think when we always say rest days, like that doesn't mean just sit on the couch and Netflix. You can do that for 23 hours of the day, but like for 1 hour, even just 30 minutes, like get in front of your tonal or, whatever feels good for you and find that active recovery on those off days. So,
And if you're not sure, just ping us. Again, first of all, we love chatting with you and love getting the questions and love the engagement. So it's never a bother. It's never an issue. If you are unsure, and you want to know, even if you post it into the OTC, if you add us or, tag us so we can actually see it. Sometimes things really do get lost in there. So just make sure you're tagging. You can tag every single coach, even if it's not that coach's program. And if we have an answer, I promise you, we will chime in and answer. Tag Jenna, tag Dia, tag Megan and Scott. Like we'll get you an answer. Promise.
absolutely. And yes, you can watch Love Island, but maybe after you finish your recovery. I see that in there.
Yeah, take advantage of this deload week. Okay, yes, thank you.
And I'm telling you, everybody is dropping like their favorites. Like I saw the animal flow, and I saw T's easy lower body stretch. Like I've seen so many people dropping their favorite recovery and mobility workouts. So if you're not taking notes, take notes and put these ones in and save them in the app so that you can pull them out the next time you need a recovery day. So there's some great recommendations coming across. So we are running short on time. We want to get through the Q&A. So again, if you have more questions, please continue to drop them in the chat and we will get them answered. But let's go. We had a question that came in earlier for this program was, what is the training goals? What training goals did this program hit? So this is a build muscle program. That's our main training goals. But for your training effect goals or your TEGs, in the app, you have those little rings that you are working to fill every week. Those are your training effect goals. You've likely selected 3 to focus on, but you can see all 7 of them in your app. So this program scores the highest in what, can you guess it? Strength. So this one is going to fill that strength bucket up for sure. That is the training effect goal that scores the highest, followed by muscle growth, because again, building strength does inherently build muscle. And then weight loss is actually the third. And T, you talked about this earlier. Again, building lean muscle mass and increasing your metabolism and maintaining that muscle mass as we age is one of the best ways to recomp, especially as you get older. And so lifting heavy and building lean muscle mass is a great way of changing your body composition, losing fat, adding muscle, increasing that metabolism, all of the wonderful things. So again, even though this is not a HIIT program, you're not going to be running around and doing a lot of stuff that maybe elevates your heart rate for 45 minutes and things that you think of when you think of maybe a classic weight loss program. But this one does score really high for weight loss as well. So
yeah,
another way, again, just to achieve the same goal of weight loss. So strength, muscle growth.
Sorry. I was just going to tag in. I know Debbie had a question about doing, since you mentioned the HIIT training. And Debbie had that same question as, can she hit the HIIT training 1 to 2 times a week, along with some power zone classes and following along in this way? Just piggybacking off of what Jenna just said, I would dare to say, while this program is not HIIT, your heart rate will elevate. You will be pushing your muscles and the body. I would more say probably your power zone training with this program might be exactly what you need. And that's going to tie into Lewis, your question as well, as far as running and training for your marathon. The thing that you want to take priority, and when I say that, I mean the thing that needs your most energy, you need to use all of your resources first for that. My recommendation would be to, on the days that you're not doing your run, then do the program days, and try to alternate there, and maybe that's more of your recovery, which is not exactly recovery, but it's allowing your muscles to not be pushed in the same loaded way, and try to balance it out that way, so that on that day you can give everything to your run. On the other day you can give everything to your strength training. And Debbie, the same thing. I think if I were you, I would test out maybe for the first week even how it feels working with your power zone training, and then incorporating the program.
Yeah, I love that. And so again, if you're just looking to maintain maybe your current work capacity, this program has that conditioning day where you're going to get the elevated heart rate, and you're going to get those endurance benefits and a little bit of power training as well. And so if that's all you're looking for is maintenance, that might be enough. But if you have specific goals related to cardiovascular health or conditioning, then yes, you might need to add in those extra workouts outside of this program. But listen to your body always, right? So if you start doing additional workouts on top of these 4 in a week, and you notice that you're not recovering, you're noticing you're not able to increase your weights, or that you have to decrease your weights because you're not able to lift what you lifted last week, your volume is decreasing, and things like that. Your heart rate is higher, even though you've done this before. Start to look at those, those markers. And if you notice that your body's not recovering, then maybe step it back. So again, maybe you only do 3 days a week of lifting, and then your other workouts outside of here, if that's again part of your goals. And then again, in terms of your marathon training, if you are early in that marathon training, and you said you're only doing 3 days a week of running, then this is the time to hit the weights heavy, is early on in that training, because you want to build that strength now. You want to build that foundation now, because as your running increases and as you get closer, you're going to probably want to and need to, just based on the recovery, taper your
Yeah.
strength training. So if you're early in that marathon training, now's the time to get really, really strong. I would say this is a great program for that. But again, just make sure you're balancing. I know Christina always has great advice when it comes to your training with your running and your lifting. She loves to do your hard runs and your hard lifts on the same day, and then give yourself that full recovery day afterwards. So if you can kind of do that, where you have your run and your lift on the same day, and then allow yourself a full recovery day, that would be great. But again, make it work for you in your schedule, and then just listen to your body and see how it's doing. And if you notice that you're not recovering, your sleep starts to get disrupted, and your appetite's off, and your mood shifts, pay attention to that. Whether you have a Whoop, an Aura, an Apple Watch, or anything giving you some of that information, if you don't, that's fine. Your body is still going to tell you a lot without even having any of those devices. So just listen to your body, pay attention to how it's reacting to adding in that additional workload on top of these 4 workouts a week.
I know we had two more questions. Megan and Harry popped in with a second question. Megan, I know you were saying you haven't been doing a lot of multi-day programs. If you have the time and your schedule allows it, I would encourage you to use the first week, because it is the intro week, to kind of test that out to see what that 4 day feels like. If you're saying 2 to 3 and 3 is on the high end, you might be able to do that. I would encourage you to just try it in the flow that it is currently. If it feels like after the first week, you're like, ooh, that might have been too much, I might have to go to the 3 day, adjust it accordingly. But if you can, it actually you might find that because we are splitting it out, and it's not full body each day you come to the program, you might find that it is a lot more attainable for your muscles to move throughout the week. And then Harry, no. To answer that very quickly, we will not be going to failure every single time. But I ain't gonna lie, like I told you, we push in the limits a little bit. The load does get heavier because you got the 10, then you drop down to 9, 8, 7 from week 1 through 4. As that volume starts to increase, that load becomes a little bit heavier. And when you're at, 3 reps, you feel it, but that's not happening until week 4. And by then, again, you've built up some strength along the ways from week to week. So
Yeah, I'm gonna tag on that too. So Harry, you even if we say you're going to failure, like you're going on that week 1, 10, 8, 6 at a reduced load, and then 10, 8, 6 again. 6 is your heaviest, right? So
Mhm.
that's 6 RM. So we're not going to a 1 rep max or anything like that. So that top set at 6, that's one set where we're gonna say lift heavy. Lift heavy as much as you can in this moment, and that's it. But it's again, it's going to be the weight that you can achieve with good form for 6 reps, and that's up to you. Remember, you always have control over that weight. You need a little more, you need a little less. We're going to push you to build your strength, and as T says, we'll get down to some lower weights, but we're really only building up to one heavy top set in each workout. So it's not going to be something we do for the entire workout, which I think is, again, as we age, we don't need to do as many really heavy, hard top sets.
Mhm.
Can be efficient. And again, the way that we progressively use wave loading to build up to one heavy top set. So you're not coming to the bar and trying to do 5 reps for 5 sets to failure. It's not that program. We're going to ask you to lift heavy for 1 set in each day. So I think that's, again, what you're saying, trying to find that balance of getting stronger without getting injured. That's how you do it right there. And Megan, another point on to say what T was saying is to try that 4 days a week and see how it flows. Another option is always to use recovery weights. So
Mhm.
if you're like not able maybe to manage the volume of 4 days a week, because that's a big leap from what you're doing right now, even with the upper lower split, try taking a little weight off by using recovery weights and seeing if that's a better way to build yourself up to the volume of this program. Because again, we don't want you to get injured. So we want to make sure that whatever volume you're doing right now, that this program's volume is not a 50% leap in the volume that you're doing. If you are used to doing 5,000 pounds in a workout and you show up and this is 10,000 pounds in a workout, that's probably going to be too much for you to manage for 4 days a week. So maybe try something like recovery weight and bring that volume down a little bit to make it manageable while still completing the 4 workouts a week. Another
Um,
option.
right off of Jenna's recovery weight, and this is for everyone in this program. And again, how you do one thing is how you start to do a lot of other things. So next level strength, yes, and any other program that you might be finishing or about to enter. If you have to reduce your weight, if you're because you need to set your recovery, you need to choose that you're doing the workout in recovery mode prior to being in it, right? But once you get in it and you're like, oh my God, this was going great. And then all of a sudden you get to an exercise that you're like, oh, Tono, you really had a lot of faith in me. And maybe I don't have it today. Do not be intimidated to drop your weight down ever so slightly to finish what you need to do. So it's like Tono is always going to be learning you and you're learning it. So again, do not feel like, oh man, I can't do this. If you get to a load, the suggested weight makes you compromise your form, you have to make the adjustment. Don't try to just push through with terrible form, and that is really how we get injured. So I cannot stress it enough. This program and any other program, if you get a suggested weight that for whatever reason Tonal felt really confident in you and you didn't feel as confident on the day, make the adjustment, take that autonomy into your own hands so we can, lift another day.
Preach. I love it so much. And again, physiologically, you do have fluctuations in your strength and your ability every single day. And this is what we talk about a lot when we do our drop set workouts, right? That calibration set is there for a reason, not just to push you to make sure you're lifting truly at your right weight for an 8 rep set, but also maybe sometimes you can only get 6 of 8 because that's all you had in you today. That is okay. Our strength can fluctuate anywhere from 10% on a single day. So again, if you show up and Tonal's like maybe a little overconfident in you that day and you're like, you know what, I need to back it off, It's okay. That just like your weight fluctuates every day, so does your strength with these little margins. So don't forget, it's okay to make sure that tonal is always getting to know you, no matter from the minute to the day to day to the month to month. So
And
uh,
y'all, I want as many people to pop in and do this with us. So if you have a friend, a tonal friend that you know either needs to get back on track or loves to work out with you, please share this program with them. And let's kind of like, let's just rock this one out, y'all.
I love it. I have to shout out our OTC team tonight, Megan and Scott and Dia. They have been on it on the back end, getting all of your questions. They're checking it off as we answer it. And so I just have to say this is the most efficient Q&A I think we've
It really
probably
has been.
ever had on a tonal talk. This has been phenomenal. So shout out to our team. They're always behind the scenes crushing
Thank
it.
you, team. And we'll see you kicking off on Monday, 7/7. I'm letting you get 4th of July out of your system, okay? And we are kicking off live on Monday.
That's right. The program will be on Tonal on Friday. Pin it, save it, get ready to rock. And T will kick things off for you with this challenge for next level strength on Monday, 7/7. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this evening. As always, I'm Jenna here with Coach T. It's been a pleasure talking to you. We'll see you on the next one.
Love you, mean it. Bye.